The Digital Gumbo podcast contains language that some may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. Well, now we're done with that shit. Let's start the show.
For the victory lap, though. Whoa. They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome. What for? Train on the trees, please water my sycamore.
You're listening to the Digital Gumbo podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Download, subscribe, rate, and review today. Download, subscribe, rate, and review today. As always, I'm with my co-host T Petty and Idris Elbow. And y'all, we had planned for a totally different pod, our first podcast of 2021, but we're taping this podcast today here on January 6th, 2021, which was absolutely positively a batshit crazy day in the nation's capital in terms of the storming of the Capitol Hill, the Senate and the House of Representatives, the entire Capitol Hill complex. T. Petty, I just want to check in first real quick with you and say Happy New Year. How you doing?
Is it a Happy New Year?
We alive. We made it. And despite some difficult circumstances that we face today, we are here.
Happy New Year, y'all. We made it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, sis. Idris, Happy New Year, bro. What's going on?
Happy New Year, Nook. Happy New Year, T. Petty. This your boy Idris Elbow with a little bit of ash on the elbow. You know, I've been thinking about this year and last year. 2020 said...
Well, I see the bullshit with his audio continued in 2021.
Uh-oh, you still there, Idris?
What happened, bro? Did he mute himself?
No, that's my internet. This 2021. I started talking bad about it, and it just cut my internet off.
Okay, did you pay the bill?
Oh, it is 2021, so.
You gotta watch those due dates, bro. You gotta watch those due dates. Y'all, there's no real way to get into it. I'm just gonna scan through what the timeline of events was here today. And I just want you guys to just give me your reaction. 1 o'clock, the certification of the presidential vote begins. At 1:15, Arizona objected. At 1:55, Capitol Police went ahead and shut down some congressional offices. 2:20, some protesters went ahead and stormed Capitol Hill. Then a curfew was called for later in the day by the D.C. mayor. Then there were some gas masks ordered, a gas mask order given to members of Congress by Capitol Police, I believe, as vandals went ahead and broke into the House of Representatives. Additional National Guard stuff, additional National Guard people were gone ahead and ordered in. And then we just saw all kinds of bedlam and chaos happen. Folks going into individual members of Congress's office. 1,000 troops were ordered. A woman was shot in the fracas who later died. The Library of Congress was on lockdown. Senate and congressional office buildings locked down as well. Just what's happened in the last sort of hour and a half, there's been, just Cheeto and tweets telling people to remain peaceful, but not telling them to go ahead and break out. And then, Democrats were calling for the 25th Amendment to be invoked, and also for, new articles of impeachment to be called. Thankfully, in Georgia, Mr. Ossoff was officially declared the winner in his race against David Perdue. Around 7 o'clock, they said that Vice President Pence, who for all intents and purposes did the right thing and certifying the votes, was back on Capitol Hill. He issued a statement early in the day saying that he was breaking with President Trump on that. 7:15, the First Lady's chief of staff resigns. And just a little bit over a half hour ago, Trump's Twitter account was locked up for 24 hours. He may be permanently banned. So, T. Petty, you're a resident political expert on this. A lot to take in in terms of this storming of the Capitol Hill complex. Congress and the Senate met today to certify the vote. Just what did you see and what were your thoughts?
Well, before I start talking about the fuckery that went down, I think I would be remiss if I didn't extend my congratulations to Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff on their historic and really game-changing Senate wins, thanks to the hard work of Stacey Abrams and other what's the word I'm looking for? Grassroots organizers. There you go. It was sort of deja vu back to November when those results started coming in. It all played out just the way that it did in November, except we got our results sooner. So congratulations to them. As everybody should know by now, them winning splits the Senate 50-50 Democrats and Republicans, and Madam Vice President Kamala Harris is a tie-breaking vote. So if they can keep that motherfucking Joe Manchin in line and Bernie Sanders from going off the goddamn reservation all the time, we can potentially get some shit done. Yeah. So kudos and congrats to them. Once again, Black voters coming through to save this fuck-ass country from itself. Which brings us to today, where white peopling did what they do and resorted to violence, mayhem, and domestic terrorism. Not because they're getting killed in the streets and shot down like dogs in front of their children, but because they didn't get their way. So those motherfuckers took to the streets. They say the barricades were breached, but were they really? Because I saw some videos where the Capitol...
There were no barricades.
They just opened it up. And
there were no barricades.
There were. They're, the gates that they always have up. And they had that thin-ass perimeter of the Capitol Police, who were taking selfies with them. They just marauding their way through the fucking building, doing whatever they want to do, hanging like chimpanzees from the balcony. The woman got shot in the neck. I mean, girl, you broke into federal property and you got shot by a police officer. Am I supposed to be sad about that? Because I'm not. You got what we get for doing nothing, but you actually broke a law. So ain't they the party of law and order?
Supposed to be, but they weren't. And,
because they're not. They only are interested in defending the systems of white supremacy that this country is founded on. I'm not embarrassed or surprised or humiliated by any of this bullshit because it don't got shit to do with me or anybody Black in this country. We just sitting back and watching them reap what they have sown. The GOP has deliberately flirted with them, took these motherfuckers to the dance, fucked them, did everything, courted them, and played around with them all this time. And now Pandora is out, or the box has been opened. And they
try to act like they ain't know.
And now they acting like, I don't want this violence. Yes, you do, bitch. You've been flirting with it for the past, since Obama took office? Since 2008, 2009. So now here we are 12 years later. 12 years later. And this is the result. Blood is on their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Dries, I'm going to bring you in on this, man. What did you see as far as everything is concerned, man? And give me your feedback and your thoughts.
I'm gonna go with T. Petty on this one, right? One, big ups to Ossoff and Warnock for winning and bringing those Senate seats in and really giving control,
Here he goes again. Sir, get it together.
His internet is being stormed by forces. You still there, Dries?
Warnock is the first Black senator from Georgia. Think about that.
He is.
First Black senator from Georgia. And what they do, T. Petty? They said we're gonna tear down the Senate. We're gonna tear down the Senate. Can you imagine him? Like last night, he had this victory, and then the next day, to see insurgents stormed the Senate. Can you imagine that? It's just unbelievable. And
is it unbelievable?
well, it's not unbelievable, T. Petty. You're right. It's not unbelievable, but it is. When you look at this, right? I think black people, we was like, yep, that's how it was all along. You just pulling the veil back from all this stuff. We knew all this stuff.
Absolutely.
And now the whole world seeing it and you embarrassed. But we knew it was there. So it's almost like we've been telling you this the whole time, but nobody been listening. And now you see it, you act like this ain't you.
Right.
This like America. It's like America too.
Yeah.
I mean, T. Petty, you're spot on in terms of saying that we saw this coming, right? We talked about this earlier this summer in one of our episodes where we said that one of the nights during the Black Lives Matter protests, that the president was in his bunker in the White House, went ahead and said that he was fine, turned out the lights, and that's when the mayhem began. Same thing, same page out of the playbook today. The president knew that this certification of the vote will happen on the 6th. He's been asking for weeks for folks to go ahead and come to Washington and take part in or protest or whatever. And shortly thereafter, after he made his announcement, that's when the certification of the vote began. And shortly then thereafter, that's when the mayhem started to take place on Capitol Hill in the Senate and the House of Representatives building. So this is nothing new. It's unexpected, but expected. And my thing is that the police response was woefully inadequate. We're hearing stories now that folks in the law enforcement community are saying that they didn't want to have such a heavy presence on the streets, not knowing what the level of response or what these protests are going to be. But
excuse me.
Yes, T. Petty, I'm gonna let you take this. I don't even know if I want to say anything. T. Petty, go ahead and take this. Don't even let Nook finish this.
Who was telling that goddamn lie?
Yeah, news sources are saying that in terms of federal police and other agencies didn't want to have such a heavy presence on the streets in Washington.
On the day of the fuck out of here. That's some bullshit, and we all know it. Why not? Because they met Black Lives Matter protesters with armored vehicles, helicopters, fully militarized people in full riot gear for a peaceful protest. These motherfuckers have been saying, well, first of all, they came in December and they didn't do shit while they were running rampant through the streets, stabbing people, lighting shit on fire. The police response then was woefully inadequate. Muriel Bowser fucked that up. And they fucked this up. The DC fucked it up. The Capitol Police, the National Guard. It was a failure on every level. And I don't want to hear no bullshit about how they didn't know it was going to happen. Everybody and their mama knew this was going to happen. They wanted it to happen. You don't think Donald Trump sat his bloated ass in the Oval Office, stuffing Big Macs and Diet Coke down his throat, and took glee in that shit? Of course he did. He incited the whole thing. He gave that fuck ass speech. Then he took his fat ass back to the White House and tweeted that bullshit out about Mike Pence. And what happened shortly thereafter? He incited it. They all knew what was going to happen. And I don't want to hear shit about we didn't know. It took a larger contingent of law enforcement. It took them hours to get there. Hours.
Right. And I agree with that. Again, I'm just saying, what's being reported in terms of the coordination between the Capitol Police, DC Police, National Guard, and whatever. Totally unprepared, though. Totally unprepared.
They did it on purpose. They did it on purpose.
When you have groups of protesters that can just go ahead and outnumber and just push through those weak steel barricades.
Hold on. Those were not protesters. Those were domestic terrorists. They were rioters and insurrectionists and seditionists. They weren't protesters.
Right. Totally understand. But yeah, again, any way you look at it, though, they were totally unprepared. So if anything, they have a blueprint of what they need to do better coming up in 2 weeks for the inauguration.
Shit.
But
Could they do worse?
Well, I mean, hey, they got to do better. So they have a blueprint on what they need to do in terms of what's going to happen in 2 weeks.
But I'm going to tell you, Nook and T. Petty, it's amazing how easy it is to take over the U.S. Capitol. Only thing you need is whiteness and a MAGA hat.
That's it.
It's that simple. Whiteness and a MAGA hat, you can take over the U.S. Capitol. And the thing that got me was all the excuses people started making about why police or military didn't show up, right? The excuses went, well, we didn't want the military to show up, and it kind of militarized stuff. And you would have these confrontations between these insurrectionists and military, right? Like that was an excuse made. It's like, it'll look bad if we go in there and stop this. So we just gonna let it go because we don't want the military to come in and stop it, and that'll just look bad and make America look bad. You mean insurrections is taking over the U.S. Capitol? Ain't making the U.S. look bad? And you're just not going to stop it? I also heard the assistant director of FBI counterintelligence. Now, FBI, they're responsible for all this domestic stuff, right? All the plots, all the stuff they supposed to know.
Legend.
You know what he got on TV and said? He said, this wasn't an intelligence problem. Like, we knew about this. It was a security issue. You mean to tell me you knew all this was going to happen, and then somehow the security broke down and you couldn't prevent it from happening? Bro, that sounds like you ain't going to have no job tomorrow.
That
don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. That don't add up.
He's going to have a job because he's lying.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, T. Petty.
No, go ahead. I'm pissed off. Go ahead.
No, it just sounds like one and the same. I mean, security and chatter, right? If there's chatter as far as international acts are concerned, international acts of terrorism are concerned, we act upon that, and our preemptive is as far as that stuff is concerned. So to hear at least what I've heard in news reports, that there was chatter about this, and that folks were calling for people to be hung from Capitol Hill and whatnot. You go ahead and do a preemptive strike. So again, saying there's a security issue as opposed to an intelligence issue, they're one and the same. And when you have those two parts working together, you don't have problems like this. But unfortunately, these two parts didn't come together today. And Capitol Police can only do so much. DC Police can only do so much. It's the coming together of all the police you can't drive anywhere in the Metro DC area without seeing some type of, unmarked police car. I mean, National Park Police, the whole 9 yards. So putting two and two together and coming up with four and getting this, together a little bit earlier could have prevented this earlier today. T. Petty, I want to get to you and just talk about, the lack of, I guess, action that took place even when some of the larger police groups went ahead and began to arrive on Capitol Hill. Not a lot of rubber bullets, as we've seen with the BLM protest. Some sonic boom sort of grenades, flash grenades took place. But again, just the breaking of the glass, breaking into Capitol Hill Senate office buildings, the Senate itself, House of Representatives. Just your thoughts on that and compare and contrast to what we saw earlier this summer.
I want everybody to quit pretending like this was some kind of failure. This was deliberate. They knew what was going to happen, and they decided to make it. They decided not to do anything about it. Period. They were running rampant all over the place. Not in addition to like them just, let's say storming. So breaking the windows and doing all that shit and sitting in the chamber and in lawmakers desk, which, by the way, national security issue. Hello, that little toothless motherfucker that was sitting at Nancy Pelosi's desk and took something off of her desk, taking pictures and selfies with no fear of retribution, just like they did in Charlottesville. This is an affront to every Black person in this country. Everybody who has experienced some type of police brutality and violence. We can barely jaywalk without getting a baton or getting tased. And these motherfuckers were allowed to run rampant.
Or shot 7 times in the back. When you going away, they grabbing your shirt, shooting you 7 times in the back.
15 arrests were made today. 15. And it's like, you know that Spider-Man meme where it's a replica of Spidey pointing and he's pointing at himself? That's what it was like. It was the police, law enforcement was one Spider-Man, and these white terrorists were on the other, and they pointing at each other. It was one and the same. They're taking selfies. They are literally escorting people off of the scaffolding that they had set up for the inauguration. Like, I am disgusted, A, by what happened, and B, by people pretending like it wasn't all allowed to happen in the first place. Everybody now wants to release statements, not downplaying, but complain about the violence and how they didn't want it.
Fake outrage.
Get the fuck out of here. You can suck my dick from the back with this performative bullshit. They courted it. They wanted it to happen. Now that it's happening and it's out of the box and they can't do shit to control it, they're trying to distance themselves. Fuck y'all. For real.
Yeah, in fact, T. Petty, I'm looking on CNN right now. It looks like the recounting of the votes has resumed. So the first objection, obviously, was Arizona. That's when everything sort of broke out and back into the 2 houses for the Senate and the House to go ahead and talk about those objections. I believe Georgia would be the next one, then followed by Pennsylvania. There may be a fourth, but I'm not sure what that would be. But it looks like everything has been all cleared and that Congress is going to go ahead and get this vote certified tonight, as it is supposed to by the Constitution, on January 6th of the following the election. So looks like things are back to normal.
Dries, I certainly hope so, because they found IEDs in the Capitol building as well as some around the Capitol building, at least
in the RNC office too. So,
this is what happens. We have not seen the last of this bullshit.
You know what? I hope they still let these. This is real time. I hope they still let them 12 senators and Congress people vote, so they forever tied to this insurrection. Don't be backing out now. Don't take your name away now. It's like, nah, I don't want to do it now. I'm good. No, we putting your name right down here. So in the history books, you'll be forever linked with this.
Oh, absolutely. All of them. Ted Cruz. Who's that other fuck ass dude? Josh Hawley.
Holly was throwing the white supremacist salute, the white supremacist fist to the crowd, and then he sent out unbelievably a fundraising note while the Capitol was being stormed.
He did. Ted Cruz did do that. He is a deplorable individual.
And Hollis. It was Hollis. Whatever his name was.
Josh Hawley. Ted Cruz did too. So they're trying to raise money off of that. And you best believe Trump is going to do it too.
Despicable. T. Petty, or I'll take your thoughts on this, Dries. Let's see. Representative Omar from Minnesota has said that she's going to draw up new articles of impeachment. And even though there's only, at this point, thank God, T-minus 14 days to go in Cheeto's administration, several Democratic leaders are calling for invoking the 25th Amendment, which would get Cheeto out of the paint immediately. I guess under those rules, then Pence would become president for those last 2 weeks. I'm not sure if Mr. McConnell would then become vice president, but neither here nor there at this point. What do you think is going to happen over the next 2 weeks?
Look, they talking about drawing up papers, invoking the 25th Amendment. Look, you know what happened this week? A tape was released with the president calling ahead of Georgia elections and just saying, find me one more vote than them 11,000 votes that I lost by so I can be over the top. And everybody went crazy like, oh my God, that is so illegal. That's worse than the Nixon tape. What happened? Nothing. The president this week goes to a rally, incites surrection. People take over the Capitol. And you still talking about drawing up articles of impeachment and invoking the 24th. If they don't do anything tonight to stop this president, it's going to be something worse tomorrow. Can you imagine the next few days? If he got away with this, he's gotten away with calling the head of Georgia Election Commission and say, find me some extra votes. And then he told a mob to go take over the Capitol. He is out of control. You better get rid of this joker tonight. You ain't got tomorrow. You ain't got next week. You ain't got 3 days. You better do something tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. T. Petty, what's your thoughts on either the new articles of impeachment being drawn up or the 25th Amendment being invoked immediately?
So I agree with Idris that articles of impeachment, like we have 13 days left. The damage you can do in 13 days is, I can't even imagine what's next up his fat ass sleeve. But the 25th Amendment would be the way to immediately get him out of the paint. But there is no way in hell that Mike Pence plus the cabinet is going to get together and do that. They are spineless, unprincipled cowards. And so we are left to the mercies of Black Jesus and whoever else is watching over us to get through January 20th. So if this is what's happening 2 weeks out, it's going to be some more bullshit every single day.
In the famous words of like the Atlanta housewife, who gonna check him, boo?
Nobody.
Who gonna check him, boo?
Nobody. And the only part of the delay with the National Guard being sent out, because they were mobilized last night, or Mayor Bowser put in her request, Bowser put in her request last night. They were trying to get him to deploy the National Guard. He wouldn't do it. So if you read the news accounts, it was Mike Pence who made the call. So what was he doing if he's completely abdicated his responsibilities? This we know. First of all, he's not capable of doing the damn job. So Mike Pence is essentially running shit for the next 2 weeks? We don't know. This is some bullshit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least. Now, things was looking real bleak in terms of the Senate election when we talked about this in the post-presidential election wrap-up episode. I think I said 50-48. Georgia would take the 2 seats, 50-50 tie, and then, of course, the vice president-elect will become vice president, would be the tiebreaker. So what I'm saying on that is this. I know there's 14 days, 13 days left now. I think that drawing up or invoking the 25th Amendment might work in terms of the House. If you go ahead and get Mr. Ossoff and Mr. Warnock in, I think you may have enough votes to go ahead and get the 25th Amendment invoked. It'll only be a few days, but I think, as you both say, something needs to be done. It needs to be done immediately. So I think just today has been a game changer all the way around, 360. Just nothing like this has ever happened. Again, this is stuff that happens in other countries, right? Where we say, oh my God, these elections are unfair. And, it was tilted, individual candidate to win 90-10 and it's fixed in the whole 9 yards. Now, the word bloodless coup has been running around. And that's what I think essentially what these folks tried to do to stop the counting of the votes and certifying the election. As it's gone down.
And no coup is bloodless. Let's get that straight. No coup is bloodless. Somebody's paying for that with their lives.
Well, somebody did die.
I know. That I ain't just talking about that white girl, but I mean anytime a coup like this happens, people's lives is on the line. But black lives, people of color lives.
Exactly.
It is no such thing as a bloodless coup.
And just because a coup doesn't succeed doesn't mean that it's not a coup.
Yeah, I feel you on that. But I mean, I don't know if I'm being, I don't know if the optimist in me is taking over in 2021. I mean, shit, it has to. Based upon all that shit that we went through in 2020, we came out on the other side. But could happen. Could happen quickly. Gets passed in the House. Again, get the 2 new senators from Georgia in. And you could see a historic invoking of the 25th Amendment. I mean, shit, you saw a historic storming of Capitol Hill today. So, might as well go ahead and, throw in the mix that the 25th Amendment could be invoked. Outside of...
Well, it's the cabinet that invokes the 25th Amendment, not Congress. It's the vice president and the cabinet members.
They have to find him unfit, and they have to start that. They have to say, like, look, this
find him unfit. That motherfucker been unfit since he was born.
Yeah, they ain't gonna say it though.
Well, I think what you saw in terms of Pence and his statement and him moving forward and certifying the vote and not bucking the system, so to speak, could be a good first step in terms of the vice president starting to invoke the 25th Amendment.
Hey, you know what though? Why you playing with it? My conspiracy theory is Pence might have been behind all this. Wouldn't it be juicy if he was behind all this? Look, think about it. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. He's like, look, I can't do nothing about this count, but the president is on my back. And if I don't do it, he's going to destroy my political career. I got to figure out some way out of this. What if boom, 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 and it happened? And now Pence, he out of it, right? The pressure ain't on him no more. He come out looking all shiny and good. He can even, if he want to, invoke the 25th Amendment. He'll be an evil genius if he pull this off. But that's just my conspiracy
Does
theory.
Mike Pence strike you as the type to be an evil genius? He been sucking Donald Trump's dick for 5 years. This is not some master plan. What they were hoping is that they would be able to get to the end of his term and be able to escape with some shred, one little tiny scintilla of dignity. And now they can't. Fuck that. Nope.
Well, sometimes the simplest solution is right, so you might be right.
I'm always right. Y'all know this.
My conspiracy theory is that this is a way to show outsiders and perhaps foreign governments how soft security is. And like you said earlier, Dries, all it takes is coming up the stairs and storming Congress to go ahead and fold government operations here for a few hours, but even longer.
Whiteness and a MAGA hat, that's all you need.
So, hey, who knows what type of devices and in addition to these IEDs that these folks went ahead and put inside, the tunnels that were sealed off and, the individual offices, and they roamed everywhere. There's no telling what's...
and they had secret stuff everywhere in the Capitol. You got secret rooms and secret stuff.
Right. That's
they done went through that stuff. Once the building is not secure, that means there ain't nothing secure.
That's why I said it's a national security issue. They were in these lawmakers' offices. Who knows what's in there? Like, they left so quickly when they got the lockdown order, the staffers did, that they didn't even shut their computers down. So they were sitting in front of people's computers, looking through emails. Who knows what's in there?
Yep.
So the hearings and the investigations that are going to come, because I'm telling you, now y'all know we've all been around federal buildings here, and we know they are not easy to breach. If you step out of line, you cross a barrier, somebody has a gun pointed at you. They were allowed to do this, period. And you will never be able to convince me otherwise.
Absolutely. So a lot still to be done. Again, it looks like the count and the certification of the votes is moving forward. We're going to see how that goes. So, Dries, I'll take your last thoughts, man, before we get on out of here on this crazy yet historic day in the nation's capital.
Look, I think I said this when we started. 2020 gave us the Spanish flu of 1910. 2021 gave us the insurrection of 1812. They took us back. And 2022, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, is a meteorite going to hit the earth? They're going to take us back to the Stone Age?
Can we at least get through January 21 first before you kill us off in 22?
Listen, we thought we got through 2020. Think about this. 2021, there ain't no more hospital capacity for the pandemic. The pandemic is worse in 2021, January 2021, than it was in 2020. And then we had an insurrection and people took over the U.S. Capitol. 2021 is outpacing 2020 in January. Think about that. So what is 2022 going to look like? I don't know if we're going to be here in 2022.
You know what?
You
You good for trying to kill people off.
All right, T. Petty. Well, we'll go with you for your final thoughts. Can you give us something a little bit more sunshiny, if you can, today?
Well, I hope we're not going to get killed off by a meteorite or an asteroid in 2022. I will just...
Aliens.
Sir, I'm going to need you to pour yourself another drink. ASAP. What happened today is a culmination of what has been going on for decades. The Republicans have courted this particular brand of crazy for years and been flirting with them and playing with fire, and we all going to end up getting burned. Because what happened today is not ending today. The Trumpism is not going anywhere today. All these QAnon conspiracy theorists and flat out psychos running around, some of whom are in Congress, I might add, that's not going away overnight. And so people talking about returning to normal, you better rethink of what normal is, because we're not going to be anywhere near that. And plus, normal didn't work out for Black people anyway. So fuck normal. All I know is that Sister Johnson at church guards the doors better during offering and prayer than the Capitol Police did today.
Yeah, they need some old church ushers, Black church ushers.
Because you know you ain't
US
getting
Capitol.
They were saying Target got better security than the U.S. Capitol.
The Apple
What's the one in the chair? The one in the chair was trying to prevent the looting at Target. That's what you need at the Capitol.
Karen in a wheelchair.
Yes.
Jennifer.
Jennifer,
all right?
Jennifer, have you had enough?
Where's Jennifer when you need her?
They were saying Paul Blart, mall cop, had better security than the U.S. Capitol.
So what's your final thoughts, Nikki?
This is just crazy and unpredictable at this point. At this point, I'm trying to win Mega Millions and Powerball and just escape to a foreign country with my money. I mean, I'm going to take y'all with me. And then once the shit died down.
There ain't no foreign countries accepting Americans no more.
Look, you got enough money, they'll accept you.
Wow, that's true. That's
y'all
true.
Where can we go to escape racism?
Y'all want to come over there with me? Producer E, you welcome as well. And just lay low until all this shit dies down. But we'll see what's happening. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody on this podcast has a birthday this week. T. Petty.
Happy birthday, T. Petty.
Yeah.
It's your birthday. Oh.
Another year older, another year wiser. What are your thoughts on your birthday this week?
I mean, for those who are interested, my birthday is actually tomorrow, the day after we're taping this.
Okay.
Clearly, I can't do shit, even before the Rona, and now we're gonna be on lockdown. So,
oh Lord,
I don't know. I'm just celebrating.
And you in DC, you in the Capitol. Y'all ain't gonna be able to go nowhere, nowhere.
I am 1 mile from the Capitol building, so you know I can't go nowhere. So I'm just looking forward to my next year. It's going to be better than last year, obviously. Even though 2020 was some fuck shit. Some good stuff happened too. A lot of good stuff happened for me. So I'm continuing on that this year. 1 year older, even though I don't look it. I'm still...
Yep.
So, I think I'll add to the Corn Bay roster... Enjoy me some of my adult libations. Maybe I'll fix me a Nookie Rita or two.
All right.
I'm taking off the rest of the week to figure out,
Nookie Rita make
what kind of trouble I can get into? What kind of corn trouble I can get into?
Okay, corn troubles. Yeah, Nookie Ritas make anything better. I mean, shit. I wish I could set me up a Nookie Rita pop-up bar at the Capitol.
Okay, so my daughter was here, right?
Yeah.
So she was here over Christmas, and the last Taco Tuesday of 2020, I mixed us up a batch of Nookie Ritas.
Yeah,
bruh.
What? I missed that.
She had one glass. I drank the rest of the pitcher. She was like, y'all drink. She's not a lightweight, actually. So I don't know. Well, I mean, it's a Nookie Rita. Those who have had a Nookie Rita know that you got to be real careful. You have to practice.
They'll put you to sleep.
Oh, bruh. She was like, I'm going to bed.
Sneak up on you. All killer, no filler. Well, T. Petty, congratulations. Happy birthday. I'll be sure to
T. Petty.
be in touch tomorrow. And I might need, since you can't go nowhere, I might need you to be on Drizzly Alert. I'm just saying, not necessarily tomorrow, but sometime this week. Drizzly might come with a special shit. That's if they can get into DC. So,
Yeah. Well, one of my Drizzly stores here is called Turnt Liquor, so maybe you can get it from them.
Oh, you can always get liquor from a store called Turnt Liquor. I don't care what it can be. The apocalypse. Turnt Liquor gonna be open.
Turnt Liquor. That's what's up.
What do you need to get through an apocalypse but liquor?
There you go.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Happy birthday. Everybody, you've been listening to the Digital Gumbo Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, look, we got the after party coming on right after this. We're going to talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But we want y'all right now to go to Apple Podcasts and download, subscribe, rate, and review today. I might have to put out a video because we want to make sure that y'all don't miss anything. I mean, shit, anything can happen, and we just might drop a pod in the middle of the night. You need to get those notifications on your phone. We don't have radio no more. We don't have no radio shows, but the radio is on your phone right there, so you get that notification. Subscribe. That means you get notifications whenever the new pod drops. Rate us 5 stars. We need those ratings so we can continue to stay in the good graces of the people that put this podcast out. And subscribe, rate, and review. Put a few words in. If you like us, put it in there. If you don't like us, that's all right. We go ahead and delete those. But at least you did listen and review. I'm not going to hate on you. Boo, your mama, something like that. Just let us know that y'all out there. So go to Apple Podcasts, subscribe, rate, and review today. Again, don't forget to check out the after party. We'll be talking about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But the main thing, happy birthday, T. Petty.
Pew, 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 pew. Thanks, guys.
Excellent.
I have my video on, so I'm going to get my hair cut tomorrow. So that's why I look like this.
Treat yourself. Treat yourself.
That's what's up. All right, y'all. We'll check y'all next time. Y'all good?
I mean,
good.
As best as we can be today, huh?
Right.
Yep.
I hear you. All right, we out. One love, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Bye, y'all. Thanks, E.
Thanks, producer E.